Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Kristen with Monarch Plans, and today I will be doing my budget by paycheck for my paycheck from yesterday, the 24th. I wanted to wait and see what I was getting paid, and I just had a little bit more time today to really work on my budget. So that is why this is happening a little bit after my payday. But because this payday is for the weeks that will end up being also in October, so I'll get paid in another 2 weeks on the 8th. I also wanted to take a few minutes to set up my October calendar in my budget by paycheck workbook. And just as a reminder, if you haven't seen my videos before, I do have the digital version of the budget by paycheck workbook from the Budget Mom. So what I do is I just print out the pages that I need. I put them in my binder. It's just a regular 3-ring binder. And that's just the easiest way for me because there's a lot of pages that I don't use in the budget by paycheck workbook. So this allows me to just print out exactly what I need. I can print out more bill trackers if I need to. I can print out more expense trackers, all of that stuff. So I tend to go for the digital version instead of the print version. If you are interested in the print version, I will leave a link to the Budget Mom's website because she is currently selling, I believe, the upcoming year's budget by paycheck workbook. I think that currently, and as of it's the end of September, I think one of like the regular size, it might be sold out, but I think she still has the box set available. Obviously that might change when she restocks later in the year, closer to when everything is shipping out. But at this point, that is kind of the status of where things are in terms of her new releases. So what I will do is I will just get started with my October calendar. I tend to just kind of look at my September calendar and replicate things in October in terms of bills, and then see if there's anything different about October that I need to keep in mind. So let's get started. What I will do really quickly, I like to use mild liners in my my calendars. They just kind of bring attention to some of the things that I like to kind of highlight in terms of like different paydays and if we have any plans. September, we really didn't have anything going on, so that is why there's not a whole lot highlighted other than paydays in September. So let me just start by highlighting where our paydays are. So the 2nd is my fiance's, the 8th is me, 16th is fiance, 22nd is me, and then this is a 3 paycheck month for my fiance. He gets paid on the 30th as well. What I will also do is I'm gonna highlight Mondays because I get paid from Etsy on Mondays. That goes into a separate bank account, so it's not necessarily coming directly to me, but at that point I can decide whether or not I'm going to be moving any money over to my personal account. So those are all of my paydays for Etsy. Let me just go through and write these in. The only other thing other than bills, which I'll be writing in here, is we have my sister visiting for a couple days. She won't be staying with us, but she will be in town. So I anticipate we will probably like go out to eat, something like that, probably at least a couple times. So that is something I want to keep in mind when thinking about this upcoming month. But that is happening the 11th through the 13th, and this paycheck only goes through the 7th, so that won't be reflected in the upcoming paycheck that I'm doing this paycheck bill tracker for. So that's just something on the horizon you'll see in my spread here. What I usually do is I will, after my fiance gets paid, I'll move money, and before my paycheck, I will move money. So I know that's a little bit complicated, but just the way that our accounts are set up, we have like a couple different bank accounts. It's just, you know, just how things work for us. So I like to mark when I need to move money around, and it's not necessarily like moving money because there's low balances. When I'm moving money prior to my payday, I'm moving any excess over my buffer over to savings. And when I'm moving money after my fiance's payday, it's moving money from his paycheck that he got over into like our kind of general bill paying account. So it's kind of his contribution to our bills. So hopefully that makes some sense. Looks a little bit complicated, might sound a little bit complicated, but that is definitely how things have been working really well for us. Like I said, I will be marking this, and I know brown's not the prettiest color, but I'm trying to do more like fall theme. So I chose brown. I'm going to write Abby comes to visit. Other than that, let me think for just a second. I honestly don't think that there's much else. I'm going to write in that it is obviously Halloween on the 31st, but I don't know what Halloween is gonna look like this year, so we might budget a little bit for like Halloween candy. We usually have quite a bit of trick-or-treaters, but like I don't know what it's gonna be like this year, so we'll have to see. Might be something where we just like leave a bucket out, but I also don't even know if that's a good idea, so I honestly don't know. I think that'll be something where we just grab candy, you know, that week if that's something we decide to do. So the last thing I wanted to write in is in October, my goals this month are to pay down a little bit of debt. And that is a little bit conditional on how we do in some other, I guess, focuses. One of those is dine out less. And so other than when my sister's here, I would really like to limit dining out. When we dine out, we obviously unnecessarily spend more money, but we could be putting that towards paying down debt or putting it into savings. So those kind of go hand in hand. If we dine out less, so I don't put less, then we can put more money towards debt. The other thing that we've obviously been focusing on, if you've listened to my channel at all, we are in the process of building a house. They're actually starting construction on Monday. So the process is like actually starting. We've just been waiting for a little bit. There's so much construction going on in our area. So I think it's just like the amount of projects that were going on was keeping ours from starting. So now they're going to be building, and now is really crunch time to save as much money as possible. We already have enough for our entire down payment and all of our closing costs and everything, but the money that we're saving now is going to go towards like new furniture, maintaining and like buffering us even further for an emergency fund, pretty much anything like that. So I'm just trying to save as much as possible because moving into a new house, I know it isn't going to be cheap. So, last one is money into savings. And that's probably self-explanatory, but it's always nice to just write it down, have it on here, all of that. So that is the general gist of the calendar. What I'm going to do is speed through really quickly as I write in my bills that I have. And then from there, I'll just really quickly go through and do my September bill tracker for my my paycheck on the 24th. So I'll be right back once I put all my bills in here, and then we can start on budgeting out my most recent paycheck. Okay, so here is my month. I have everything written out, all my bills and everything. And so now it makes it really easy to just fill in everything on my bill tracker. So I'm just gonna have this over here on the side. Hopefully it's not too distracting to have it kind of in this side of the frame, but it really does help for me to reference it as I'm going through this. So what I will do, this is for the paycheck on September 24th, and it's through October 7th. And so what I'm going to do, I won't detail out my income and my different income streams, but what I will say is the budgeted amount that I have for the 2-week period is about $3,130. That might be actually a little more than we end up getting, but we will see. I try to be pretty good about estimating, and sometimes I try to estimate low, but it really just depends. I think my most variable income is obviously Etsy, and what I decide to pay myself. So that is where things can be like higher or lower. For bills, I have Vanguard, which is like my retirement, so I contribute to my IRA, Apple, which is just some additional storage on the cloud, car insurance, which is for my fiance and me, and it's for 3 cars total, our car payment, and then our internet payment. So that's all we have for bills for that time period, the 24th through the 7th. We're pretty light on bills when it comes to like the end and the beginning of the month for like a very narrow period. So this is actually pretty minimal in terms of bills. I'll just put the dates really quickly that I anticipate these things coming out. 9/28, 9/30, and 10/7. So the budgeted amount for my IRA is $100. Apple is $1.07. Car insurance is $231. The car is $442, and then $99.78 for internet. I'll know actuals more at some point. Actually, all of these are pretty much just like fixed expenses. So I do know I did round for a lot of these, so I'll just put those in later. But I do know the total for this section is $873.95. And what I do for this, if you haven't seen this before, and I'll just walk through this really quickly with you, is you have your income and then you have your bill total. So you want to subtract your bill total for this first section from your income to get the leftover amount here. So that gives me $2,256.15. And this section is really like bills, actual living expenses. Like I need to pay these or else I'll be delinquent, like stuff that is due. That's how I view this section. The next is envelopes. So it'd be things for me like groceries, dining out, pet stuff, gas, anything like that. So I bring down the leftover amount from here into here. So we have $2,256.15. And then what I do is I do groceries, dining out. I know some people combine those into one category for food, but I like to break them out. Pets, so that's like food, litter, everything like that. Allowance. Gas, coffee, health. And so that can be anything from like, for example, today I bought face wash at the store, like shampoo. That might be like if I get my hair cut, because I generally don't spend very much on my hair. So it's not something I need to necessarily save up like a sinking fund for. So really health stuff, and it could be like self-care, or it could even be just like home supplies. So it's very, very general, but that's kind of why I have like a health category. And then finally, sinking funds and unbudgeted. So what I do is I usually leave the sinking funds and unbudgeted blank, because I don't really know how much I'll be spending from my sinking funds or my unbudgeted when it comes to like the beginning of the month, or I guess the beginning of the paycheck cycle. So I leave those blank. It doesn't really bother me. I don't spend a whole lot in sinking funds or unbudgeted, so it doesn't seem to throw me off all that much just leaving it blank in this section. But what I do is I'm going to budget $250 for groceries for this 2-week period. We've been coming in like less than $200 pretty consistently, so $250 is pretty good for us. $100 for dining out, which I'm trying to think why I did 100, because I think I was trying to decrease it to like 50, but I think maybe I'm just kind of doing baby steps downward. So I'll leave it at 100, but hopefully I'm gonna aim for like a lot less than 100. Dog, cat expenses and pet expenses is about 30. Allowance is 50. Gas is 50. And the gas is just for me. My fiance pays his own gas out of like a separate bank account that he has money in. That's just, I don't know how happened for us and it tends to work, so we haven't messed with it. Coffee is 20, health is 20, and sinking funds and unbudgeted are blank right now. That equals $520. And so what I will do is we have the leftover amount from above, the new envelope total, so that's the total for all of these categories. So I subtract the 520 from the $2,256.15, and I get $1,736.15. So this is the amount left over after I've paid all of my bills for the 2-week period and all of my, like, I wouldn't necessarily call them necessities because allowance isn't like a necessity. Coffee's not really a necessity, stuff like that. But these are things that like I pay for actively to like lead a nice life, I guess you could say. When we move up here, this is when we have our sinking funds. So that is where I save for things that are coming up in the future. So for example, for this paycheck, I will be contributing to both of our car registrations. I'll just do car or Fusion Reg, and then Edge, and then vacation. So what I will do is I will move my leftover amount from down here up to this section right here. So it's $1,736.15. For Fusion registration, I will be saving $20. For Edge registration, I will be saving $28.30. And so those are things I can save every single month towards our registration. So when they come due, we already have the full amount saved. And then finally, vacation will be $100. I need to check and see how much we have saved. That's part of closing out September. So in a few days, I'll see how much vacation money we have saved, and then I'll be able to tell if I need to like ramp up my savings or if I can relax a little bit. I'll make adjustments as I need to. And then when I add up these 3 categories, I get $148.30. And so $1,736.15 minus $148.30 is $1,587.85. And so I will have that left over, bring that down here, $1,587.85. And I'm not anticipating paying any extra debt for this paycheck, so we'll have nothing there. Again, $587.85. I know this is repetitive, just bringing things down, but so we have $1,500, almost $1,600 left over from this paycheck. And what I will say is, if you, again, haven't seen my videos before, we're in a certain special situation where we currently don't pay rent. So that is why I'm able to save so much. Like I mentioned, we have a pretty light bill cycle for these 2 weeks. And sometimes it's a lot more, sometimes it's like kind of low like this. We tend to keep these expenses relatively low in terms of like our groceries don't cost us a whole lot. We do spend a lot in dining out, which is why I'm trying to get that down. But other than that, we don't have a lot of money that we spend on, I guess, like bills and stuff. We've kind of pared things down as much as we possibly can. So that $1,500 will go directly into our house savings. So $1,587.85. Our total savings then $1,587.85, and then we have 0 left over. So that full 1,600-ish will go into our savings for this pay period, and then the next pay period we'll see, hopefully it's around that same amount. But that's how we're able to save for our house. Obviously, that is not what everybody else's situation is like. We're just very, very fortunate right now to be able to do that. But once we get our house, obviously we're gonna have a mortgage. So that is going to be a huge adjustment for us. So that is also something I'm preparing for, is knowing that when we do have our new house, like we aren't gonna be able to live large and just like accidentally eat out more, or, you know, spend more on allowance and stuff like that. It's definitely gonna be an adjustment. So that is our paycheck bill tracker for this upcoming pay period. I'll do this total income at the end, like once I have my actuals in here, but I'm hoping that the actual column ends up being hopefully somewhat close to this. Sometimes we spend a little bit more in some of these categories, but I think that we should be pretty good. Like I mentioned, there's not a whole lot going on, and you can see here we do not have a lot going on the beginning of October, and we don't have a whole lot going on the end of September. So it's kind of nice that the end of the month and beginning of the month is a little slow for us. So I will be keeping track of everything in here. I'll be tracking my expenses, and when I come back after my next paycheck, so on October 8th, I can show you my next bill tracker and how this one went. I didn't show you how earlier in September went because I haven't really been tracking very closely. I think that this month we were just super relaxed with our spending, which not like we went so crazy that we're just like way over budget and everything, but it was just, we were just kind of relaxed and I didn't really track things. So this is kind of me getting back on track. So on October 8th, when I get my next paycheck, I will come back and I will show you how this went. I'll do my next paycheck bill tracker and we will see how it goes from there. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about this system or this process, please let me know. The Budget Mom she's an amazing resource. If you're not gonna buy her products, I would highly recommend following her. I will have her information on her website, a link to her website in the description box below. Honestly, she's a great resource. So take a look at that. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment, or you can always find me on Instagram at monarch_plans. Feel free to send me a message on there as well. I'm totally open for conversations or answering any questions you have. So again, thank you so much for watching and I hope you have a great day. I'll talk to you later. Bye.